What's going on, Z-Warriors? Mr. Waffles here. I know it's been a while since I posted anything, but been pretty busy with the engagement planning with just life in general, and plus a lot of cool things happening in my life outside of that. So I'll keep you guys more informed. But what deck I have for you guys now is Blue Tag Team Trunks. So ever since the release of Set 5 when we got Briefs, I was like, oh, I can't wait to try Trunks with Briefs because, the extra card and everything like that. And since Trunks doesn't have a power, Briefs kind of makes up for that. But what we're doing is we're running old 1 and 2. Reason being is because you want to trigger the sword stance as consistently as possible, as well as like the new Trunks level 1 doesn't really do anything. I mean, physical for +1 doesn't do much at all. So might as well try and get some selective banishment. Banishment on level 1, selective banishment on level 2, and then I'm using old 3 as well. So old 1, 2, and 3, just for the extra card. I could try out the new 3 as well. It wouldn't be that bad. And new 4 just because it's really powerful. And of course the tag team mastery. So we'll just get onto the deck. I like the deck in terms of consistency of how you can just automatically get a brief. So even if your opponent enters with like a gut punch or spin kick or something like that to get that destroys an ally, I can at least get the draw off of it for that turn. So it's still something. The thing is that this mastery isn't that good in general, only because like you'll see as in when I'm playing the deck, there's certain cards and allies I really want to play, but this mastery doesn't have any way of turning it off, and especially if I have more allies out with Namekian Restored having that overwhelming power loop, they can just blow up all my allies and just pick the ones that they want to get rid of. So, this mastery doesn't really do much outside of turn 1. So, I wish they can do more, but it is what it is. So we'll get with the deck profile. So for physicals, uh, 2 heroic jabs. So card is another block, which is always good, and the ability just to kind of shuffle. Like if you have an attached wall breaker to you, which you can't use your sword stance or like black capture or something like that, or even just shuffle setups and Dragon Balls and stuff. This card is very helpful. So play 2 of these. It's limit 2 per deck. Only 2 dashing sword attack. Reason being is because the name card for the style is not an actual attack; it's a block. So you know, if it was an attack, I would definitely play 3 just because you want to go on the offensive. So if I was playing like red, sane, or even black, I would maximize this as possible. But since the style sword card is a block, it's only 2, so there's no real point playing more, and it also costs a stage and everything like that. So round 2 was a good number. Um, Free Trunk Sword Slash for obvious reasons. It has synergy with like Blue Neck Beam if Sword Slash hits, things like that. So it's always a good card to have. So maximize that and banishing 6 cards. It's really good. We see how strong Cell is. So imagine you can just do this, for your own style as well. 3 digs, just super powerful, just because especially if you're on like level 4 trunks, it's 11 like stages unpreventable, so it's just like really huge. So again, just to really push if you feel like you're getting stuck on a certain level, to help you level up, and then you can try neck beam them down. So 3 of these for sure. 3 blue round throw. Again, it's just the ability to have the block and attack. So I figured with this deck, since with tag team you don't have the protection like protective mastery, at least you can use this card to be on offensive if need be or to defensive, and it's a good physical for +5, so and it lowers anger. 3 Blue Betrayal, so spot removal is always key. I know I need one more promo one, but 3 of these for sure. No explanations. I mean, some people play 2, but again, with Roshi being around in some other decks, I feel like 3 is needed just to really get rid of the board. 2 Blue Lunge just because with Trunks you can look at the top 5 or top 4, sorry, and then if there's a setup in one of them, you can just like lunge into it, which I've done many times, like lunge into VTP or to the aggressive sword drill or dominance and stuff like that. So 2 is good just because with 3 I don't really see the need. Also just because physicals aren't really that good in this game. So 2. And 3 blue head knock, since your opponent needs 5 anger to level up with this mastery, you need as much lower in anger as possible. So 3, and there's also life cards, so If the stage thing is not working for you, you can just go straight for life and endurance too. One for blocks, I'm running one blue swift block. Again, good against like for Cell, Roshi. I might bump it up to 2. At the time I was playing 2, it was working really well. It was just finding like a lot of space, so I'll play 1. 2 blue sword rage, just because. I mean, I might play it, bump it up to 3, but again, it's, you know, I want to try and be as offensive as possible. And you also see that I also run blue arm blast and stuff like that, so I have a good amount of physical blocks. So I'm just playing 2. For energies, 2 overpowering, just because, you know, certain allies you might need to get. So I'm just playing 2. I'm not running a whole bunch, but if one of them ever gets to discard pile or something like that, you know, you have a backup plan. So 2. I'm playing Crushing Beam just because with the large card hand, sometimes, you know, if your opponent passes and you pass, you just like wasted your whole hand. So you wouldn't get card quality out of it. So with Crushing Beam, at least you can go back into your deck. You have some replay value as well. So we'll just play 2 just because it costs 3. 1 blue Terra, pretty much staple. 2 blue Arm Blast just because you want to be able to, again, be offensive and defensive. So against like, you know, physical beatdown decks, you know, you have at least the extra block, which you can also stack back with blue Narrow Escape, and also just to get in there for 5 life cards. It's not much, but it's still something. So 3 Neck Beam, again, synergy with Trunk Sword Slash, it's good. Endurance though is good, and if you ever pitch it with like Swift Block or Avoidance, which I also play, you know, gain some stages and just be able to combo like dig and then into Neck Beam, so that way you level up and they don't. So 3. 1 blue Avoidance is just a good tech, just because, you know, with the large card hand size that you can get with Trunks, not all the cards there are going to be relevant. So you can pitch like a dead card or something like that just to get some benefit out of your opponent's energy attack. 3 Narrow Escape just to reuse like Overpowering Attack, Crushing Beams, Neck Beams, things of that nature. So Endurance is always welcome, so we definitely play 3 of these. 1 time for events. 1 Overwhelming, you can switch out with Terror, get it back with VTP. I might play it to 2, depending how big like setup decks are a problem to me, but I'm trying out 1. If I get another foil 1, I'll most likely play it 2. So 1 for now, and you know, we'll see where it kind of goes in terms of my deck placement. You know, if it's always valuable or if it's not. 3 heroic energy sphere. Again, with Trunks, you're looking at the top 5 cards, so you know, it's always, this card has a lot of value in it. Most decks, you know, might play 2 just because it's like random chance. At least with Trunks, you can always kind of filter your hand. Or if you run in Trunks 2, you can look at their hand, give them an event, and that way you can share it. So play 3 of these. 2 Confrontation, I might bump it up to 3 just because space reasons, and I really want to be offensive. Again, it's always a good card to pick out blocks, but I never really found like 3 to just be like, you know, it's just like 1 less attack I kind of have. So I might bump it up. You know, if you guys see anything that I can probably use to take out for another confront, let me know, because I had it at 3. I cut it down just for space. 1 of the key cards in the deck, Trunk Sword Stance. Again, this card just, you want to just try and get to like level 3 or 4 ASAP. Again, just being able to trigger it, you know, with Trunks 1 and brief, so you go and you like enter combat, look at the top 4. If this card is among one of the top 4, you draw it off the briefs, and then you Sword Stance to level up. So, and you keep your hand size, so instead of going -1, you just net even. So that's why briefs helps a lot. And before briefs, again, you had to hold this card for 1 more turn, and it was just too clunky. So 3 of these, and some crazy combos with like aggressive sword drill to get 1 if you have 1 in hand. You can skip up like 2 levels, and it's insane. So 3 of these. And 2 shifting maneuvers just for the Omni block, just because again, we're not playing Protective Mastery, so you know, you just want to make sure you have all your bases covered. I mean, I might take these out for something else, but we'll see. For setups, 2 VTP, just because you can do some crazy stuff like VTP into Sword Stance, trigger trigger, do some crazy combos or overwhelming power or some stuff. So it's just the utility value of it is always good. So 2 VTP. 2 Blue Dominance, because again, you want to level up as fast as possible, but as consistently as possible. So there's no reason for me to play 3, especially if I have the sword stance. So I play 2 of these, and you can like enter, go to 2, get the aggressive sword drill, trigger that, get the sword stance, and then do some crazy combos. 3 aggressive sword drill. Reason being is because this card basically equals Trunk Sword Stance, so it's basically like you're playing like 6 copies of it. So being also able to get like dashing sword attack or sword slash or something like that is always helpful as well. So you play 3 of these because it's like the engine of the deck. So you open up with this, you pretty much go to level 2 and you can stay on from there. And then for allies, we play Briefs and Bulma. Briefs because you just get it off with the trunks, and Bulma just because late game, if there's something that you need to shut off your opponent, you can just close out the game. So we play the Briefs and Bulma. So it's all in the family. And last but not least, one Dragon Ball 4. I don't really, again, all my setups are pretty much when entering the VTP and the dominance, and the only card that they can really be able to, my opponent can really be able to hurt me is using it on my drill, which doesn't really matter. So this would actually replace the other overwhelming power, just because a lot of times, instead of entering combat, if you can draw this, you can plop it down, you can blow up their VTPs or when entering stuff before anything happens. So I pretty much replace the overwhelming power with the Dragon Ball 4. So again, the basic idea of the deck is to try and beat down your opponent through either energy attacks or physicals. The problem I had with it is just because it's mainly because of the mastery. I think the synergy between Trunks and Briefs is really good, but the mastery is just very lackluster because you don't get any benefit for having allies. It's not like the mastery says anytime an ally comes into play under your control, all your attacks do plus X or have any extra bonus. It doesn't really reward you for playing allies, and also it doesn't stop your opponent from using like a card like Tug of War, just entering using Tug of War. So if the mastery said if you control one ally, it cannot be removed, period, by your opponent's card effects, then it'll be a little bit better. But your opponent can still like enter Tug of War, banish it, or anything that doesn't do critical, like Gut Punch or Saiyan Spin Kick. So it's very lackluster. It's a fun deck to play, so if you guys want to try it out, more than welcome. If you guys see any improvements that can be made, let me know. Or if you guys have any take on it in terms of your own Blue Trunks deck, let me know, because I really want to see other builds. I just think right now the deck has potential, but it's just not there yet, just because you pretty much can't go like stages because stage damage is bad in this game, and you have to pretty much resort to all like life cards, I feel, for the most part. And just because, and again, I played like Roshi and Oolong and stuff like that too, but against this restored cell matchup, as long as they have an overwhelming power at the bottom of your deck, it's pretty much game because they can just blow it all up. So until they change that, I don't really see this deck going that far, just because allies are such hazardous potential. So, and also Roshi, since there's no way to really turn off allies on your opponent's turn, that's another reason why I didn't have Roshi, because if I had Roshi, I can't search with this, I can't search with this, I can't search with this, I can't search with this. So like Roshi shuts off like a lot of things in my deck as well, and there's no way for me to get rid of Roshi on my opponent's turn so that way I can benefit from it. I have to shut off Roshi on my turn, which allows my opponent to activate their search cards on their turn. So it's a catch-22. So Oolong I might try out again. It just didn't do much for me in terms of like any benefit to help me. It just kind of just stopped my opponent. But again, if you're playing Restored Cell, and if I have like Briefs and Oolong, they can just crit away the Oolong. So, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think, and just remember to like, comment, subscribe. Mr. Waffles out.